now that I'm retired, like, hunting's my fight. Like, that's my opponent. I mean, shoot, just because I'm the host of a hunting show doesn't mean I'm the greatest hunter, because I learn every day, every time I'm out there. I got some good ones you guys want to check out. My first season, I have TJ Dillashaw, Chad Mendez, and Lorenzo from Go Hunt. You know, people come up to me like, hey, man, I'm glad you didn't crop out that shot. You shanked that shot bad. Why did you show that? And I'm like, man, I'm real. I'm raw. What you see is what you get. Justin Gaethje, he is my co-host, and he is fighting Edson Barboza. He's the number 6 fighter, so it's going to be a scrap. Sure, would I love to be sleeping in my bed, you know, every night? Yeah, but I'm out here because I love this thing called hunting. Hey, guys, this is Luke Caudillo with Gladiators Unleashed, and you are listening to Living Country in the City.
Y'all ready for your dose of flyover state spirit? Straight from the concrete jungle? Well, put down your latte and pull on your boots. It's time for Living Country in the City.
Oh, man. Well, here we go. We are here at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo in Salt Lake City, Utah. Here, the giant hunting family reunion, getting to see everyone. Before we get going, just want to say a big thank you to Sawyer Products for their support of the podcast. They have been instrumental in helping me get this out and still being able to afford tags. So, you know, big thank you to them. Their equipment is fantastic. If you're looking for water filtration, insect repellent, first aid, the core essential stuff that you need just keeps you outdoors for longer. Check them out at Sawyer.com. But I am here, so it's Caudillo.
Correct.
Because I wanted to get all like.
Well, if you want to get real Hispanic, it's Caudillo.
Caudillo.
Yeah, but I grew up in Nebraska, so it's Caudillo. Yep.
I was like, I'm like the white guy that kind of knows some Spanish, so I gotta Caudillo.
Yeah, it's Caudillo. Yep, Lucas Caudillo.
Oh, there you go. Oh, man. Anyway. But, yeah, I'm here with Luke Caudillo of Gladiators Unleashed. How you doing, brother?
I've been good, man. It's always fun coming to the shows. You get to see all kinds of new, you know, people you see on Instagram and then meet up with them. And, you know, it's just fun because, you know, you get to meet these companies that you've been working with. So it's just kind of like a good family reunion type deal, you know, like you said. And obviously do podcasts with guys like you, and it's just fun, man. Like, you know, you follow them all year long, and you see like them grow, and you just keep going, you know. So it's a good time. It's a good time. And
you never know, like I've said it a million times, like you never know when you're meeting up with someone, like that you just talked with on Instagram, whatever, for the past year and a half or whatever it is. You're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to come up and like bro hug you right now or like actually
weird?
Just introduce myself.
Correct.
And then, like, there's people you've talked to for years. You don't even know their first name. You just know them by, like, a handle.
The handle, yep, exactly.
And it's funny, and I'm the worst person, man. Like, out of context, I'm the worst person at recognizing people.
Oh, really?
And so I have to do the whole, like, I think that's so-and-so, and, like, I'll pull up their Instagram and pull up, like, a good photo of their face, and I'm, like, holding it up. I've yet to get caught doing that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll happen.
Well, you know, in my line of work, you know, I got punched in the head quite a bit, so I'm great with faces, horrible with names. So I'm like, hey, buddy, well, what's up, dude? I give them nicknames, you know. So
well, that's the best part about our vernacular, right? Is that's I think probably the first time I've ever actually used that word in a sentence.
I was like, damn, what kind of podcast is this?
That's one of the coolest stories. Is like half of the time you can do that. You'll be like, what's up, brother? And be like, hey, buddy, pal. Guy, friend.
And then he turns around and I'm like, what's his name?
And half of the time you may know their name, the other half you may not, you know?
Yeah, it's all good, though. It's fun. But, yeah, like there's been a few people here that I'm like, man, I know them. How do I know them? And then they come over and talk to you, and you're like, it hits you, you know, and I'm like, oh, I get it, you know. But, you know, it's funny because at the hotel room before we came here to the Expo this morning, we saw Pauly Shore.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he was there, and he had his glasses on, and he's here for some, like, comedian deal. And we saw him. I'm like, dude, that's Pauly Shore. And we're like, yay. We didn't want to do the whole, hey, man, take a picture with us, but because he didn't want it, you know. He didn't want everybody to know he was here.
Just start quoting Biodome at him.
Right. I was thinking, what was the other one? Son-in-law. That's right.
Geez,
yeah, he had the chaps on, cheek chillers or whatever. I was going to quote him on that, but it was good.
Oh, man. All right. So I always like to kind of start. I would just give the fine folks listening a little bit of background about yourself. Just how did you get into hunting and the outdoors and all this stuff, man?
So I was a professional fighter for 14 years, fought in the UFC, was doing that. And, the fight life is it's a short window. And when I was getting out of it, I was like, man, what am I going to do with the rest of my life?
Wait, so you mean it's not like a long-term career in your 70s?
No, definitely not a 70s. The fight game is a short deal, and I
mean, that would be an interesting fight to watch. Don't get me wrong, like the senior circuit.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. There's days where I'm thinking, I still got it. I can go in there, and I'll go spar with the guys, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good now, But, everybody asks me, like, do I miss it and everything? And I'm like, man, I'm around it every day because now I'm a coach. I coach some of the highest level fighters out there, that are still competing in the UFC. And, long story short, I hooked up probably back in, early 2000 was maybe with Willie Schmidt with Pure Hunting.
Okay.
I was his trainer at the time, and he was like, man, you should come on a show with me. Let's go to Texas, shoot some pigs or whatever. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm down. And little did I know, going on that trip made me want to do my own show. Of course, I came in as a guest thinking, hey, I can do this. All you got to do is just get a camera guy, go hunting. This is an awesome gig, right? I can get paid by this. Well, little did I know how hard it was to, filming your show, just everything, just the money it cost to produce a show. It was an eye-opener for me, but, this is going on my third season now, and I'm in it to win it still. I'm not quitting anytime soon. It's just kind of like I take it as fighting. Like when I was a young amateur or a young fighter, I had to go through the ranks, I had to put my time in. And, trying to get sponsors for the show. It's just been a process, and you just got to keep chucking, And that's what I'm doing. And, like, this year, it's kind of nice because we are building a brand now, and it also helps when you have great partners that help promote you, too, So it's been good, I can't complain. So that's how I kind of got in, the outdoors deal. I mean, I always hunted as a kid, but I was like, what am I going to do after the fight game? And I wanted to do something that I want to enjoy the rest of my life. And
yeah,
hell, let's do it. Let's do a TV show. And it's had its ups and downs, but right now I'm loving it. I had a 1 year where I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, just because I wasn't having fun with it anymore. And now I just said, screw it. I had to fire myself and say, why am I doing this? It's because I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love doing this. I love getting new guys out there in the woods for the first time, And a lot of these guys, they're all fighters, so they need that protein, that meat.
Tell us a little bit about the show.
So the show is, like I said, I was a former MMA fighter, and now I pretty much take other UFC fighters out, other gladiators. I also work with Hero Sports, a bunch of veterans group. And to me, I think they're the real gladiators of today, But, yeah, we go out. Sometimes they're first-time hunters or sometimes they're seasoned hunters. And we go out and we make a little film out of it, and we throw it up. And it's been fun. Like, we do a lot of archery hunting, but this year I think we're going to step up the game and do some rifle hunts. Success rate will be a lot easier, on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I do. I mean, I got a co-host named Justin Gaethje. He's number 7th in the world. He's fighting the main event here end of May or March 30th. Yeah, so it's cool. I got a lot of cool things happening.
I've talked with Chad Mendez before.
Correct. Yeah.
And I was really surprised after talking with him to find out how many MMA fighters hunt, like avid hunters.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Well, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, I mean, like we're combat guys, and we love being out there in the woods, and it's tough. And like Chad and I, we hooked up on my first season. me and him and TJ Dillashaw went to New Zealand with a thing with his fins and feathers, and man, that was a trip. That was a crazy trip, but man, New Zealand, if you guys ever get a chance, go do it, man.
You're like the third person that I've talked with this weekend, or third or fourth person that's like been like, yeah, man, I'm going to New Zealand, or man, yeah, New Zealand's the best. And it's like, I already wanted to go.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I feel like this is a sign. Everybody's telling me to go to New Zealand on this podcast right now.
Yeah, it's crazy because, I never thought, I thought I was going to have to be like 50, 60 years old by the time I go to New Zealand because it's so expensive. But, I just pulled the trigger and I said, you know what, if I don't do it now, I never will.
Well, and that's funny enough. That's what I thought about elk hunting when I first, I kind of didn't know what I was doing getting into hunting. I never even knew Western hunting was a thing. I thought it was just like what people did, like you said, when they were in their 60s and 70s and they can drop $75,000 for some big guided thing. And I just thought like people hunted deer out of tree stands, and that's how you did things.
Yep.
And
that was hunting, right? That was hunting. Period.
Yeah. I mean, and so I tried doing some of that, and my girlfriend at the time was from Mississippi, and so, that just reinforced that. And I went out and visited her family, and we sat in tree stands and froze our butts off.
Yep.
And it was awesome. It was a blast. I had a great time. I still enjoy doing that. It's a different skill set. But then my buddy pretty much, one of my coworkers, my actual second podcast I ever did, he pretty much told me, he's like, speak of the devil, this is his wife right here.
There it is.
I was just talking about Samson.
I'm Luke. Nice. I was just literally talking about. That was weird.
Oh, but yeah, speak of the devil. That's
crazy.
Funny. But yeah, he was telling me basically, well, why aren't you hunting elk every year? And I'm like, because I'm not rich and super experienced. He's like, no, dude, you can do this for like under $1,000.
Yeah.
Like, you got to invest in some gear and stuff like that, but you can do this. And this was January. And that September, I was in the elk woods tearing both of my knees, but I was in the elk woods.
Yep. And you were doing it, though, and that's what's sweet.
It was, yeah. And so it was very eye-opening. And, that conversation was what opened everything. Like, it changed my life, having that conversation. And finding out and getting out into the woods and learning about hunting. It's life-changing, man.
Yeah. Shoot, just because I'm the host of a hunting show doesn't mean I'm the greatest hunter, because I learn every day, every time I'm out there. And, me living in Colorado, I got that in my back door, the elk. And for me, I'm really lucky. I grew up in Nebraska chasing whitetails, but when I heard my first bugle, I was hooked, man. I was hooked. So, yeah, I get it, man. It's a life changer, man. And I just getting out there is what I enjoyed the most, and especially with archery though, man. Elk hunting is so tough, dude.
Oh yeah,
and brutal on the body.
It's you got to go where the elk are. That's the thing about archery. You can't. You can't shoot them from across that canyon.
No, you got to go. And to me, that's what I like about it. I think that's what I love about it, because it's like my fight now. Right? Yeah. Now that I'm retired, like, hunting's my fight. Like, that's my opponent.
Well, and I feel like it's an inspiration to stay in fighting shape, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's, a lot of guys, I've met a lot of athletes, and they've talked about it, where it's like, once they're done, they're like, it's a struggle, man. It's a struggle to, like, not feel like you just have let yourself go because you don't have that motivation anymore.
Yeah, and that's why I got out of the game, because I was losing that drive, right? Like, I was like, man, my back hurts all the time. Like, why? And I fought in the lightweight division, 155. And now I'm about 195, 200.
I was going to say you're not 155.
Yeah, so, you get that. And, I love where I am at right now. But when it comes to, around September, I got to drop at least 15, 20 pounds, because – hiking just is not easy.
I mean, that's extra weight you're carrying.
Yeah, you
don't even think about it.
Yeah, and when you got a load of your own gear in the backcountry, and let alone an elk coming out, like, it's demanding on your body. So I always try to stay in shape. I wouldn't know anything about that. Yeah, you will though. I promise. You will. So I'm telling you, it's demanding, and
So, what's some of the stuff you do during the year to get, not to
how do I get
co-opt the term, but to stay and get into elk shape. Like, what are your goals for getting into the?
A lot of it is like I try to shoot all year long, right? Obviously, and I try to have my pack on all the time, so my shoulders feel it, my hips can feel that pack, and then eventually when it starts to come, hunting season, I start putting more weight in that pack, But, I run a gym back in Denver too, so I'm always in the gym, but it's not like I'm lifting weights all the time. I'm actually, kickboxing a lot, sparring with the guys, so I'm doing a lot of
that's a lot of functional movement stuff, which is really. I was just talking with someone about this earlier. It's important. We're dudes.
Yeah.
We love to work the biceps, love to work the tris, the chest, all that stuff. You want to look good.
Yeah, you want to look good. Fill that shirt out.
And that you don't want to neglect that stuff because everything's going to help you. Every muscle you're putting every muscle into use. Whether you're pulling back your bow, you're lifting your pack. After it's been loaded, whatever you're doing, you're using every muscle. But let's face it, you're going to get a lot more out of functional exercises that
period.
Legs, back,
the core. You got to use your core.
Oh my
everything.
Gosh.
And as much as I hate to do it, I have to do it, and I do it more going into it. I do a lot of more legs, a lot more hiking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not just putting my hunting boots to put them on, so my feet get used to it. I mean, it's not like I'm doing like this big regimen to get ready. I mean, you just got to do it,
Yeah.
And like when you're out there in the high country, it's a mental thing, to me is like, man, do I want to quit or do I want to keep going? And don't get me wrong, there's times where I'm like, I miss my bed, I miss my wife, you know what I mean? Like, I want to go home, but you hear that bugle and you're like, stop being a pussy and let's go.
Man, there's so many times, like, and it's not even necessarily like, I just want to go home. It's like, I just want to chill in the tent today.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, well, shoot, man, if I'm coming out here, I better be in the hills. I better be moving. Like, none of this crap.
Yep.
And I'll admit my failings. I'll be the first person to admit that.
Yep.
I've done it. There have been days where I have not had the mental strength to tell myself to get out there. And it's because I've been discouraged. I haven't seen crap, so I've already convinced myself there's nothing here. What am I doing out here anyways? I'm a failure. I'm too stupid to understand this.
I suck.
Like, I full on, like, that's something I struggle with.
Yep.
Is, like, just that beating myself up and letting that get in my head. And I'll admit, there have been times where I'm just like, I don't got it today.
Yep.
And, and there's a difference also between that and just you sometimes need a rest day. Like when your body is completely failing you and, whatever, you're out for 10 days and you kind of just need a rest day. But there's a difference between that and just talking yourself out of going out.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I have the luxury of having a cameraman with me and maybe another guest. So it's kind of like, man,
there's some pressure there.
Oh, yeah. So it's kind of nice, though, like, if we got to regroup and, like, man, let's go. You get that pep talk from your buddy or your camera. Like, come on, dude, let's go. Come on. And I'm like, okay, let's go. But
well, it's a funny thing. I've noticed, like, there'll be times every so often, like, I'll time-lapse a workout or something. It's just something to post up, whatever. If I'm doing something interesting, like some functional stuff, I'll time-lapse it and I'll post it up on Instagram. Yeah. And I've realized I go a lot harder and I go a lot
when the camera's on, right?
A lot fewer breaks when the camera's on because people are watching. I'm like, I need to, like, I don't know, maybe I need to, like, hold myself accountable and, like, just film more stuff for that reason.
No, it's crazy because we have this saying, like, when we're in the gym and the UFC comes and films for us for, like, the countdown, embedded. And we're like, oh, God, they're going to be filming, so he's going to go really hard today, But it's funny.
Knocking the bag off the wall,
man.
Yeah,
exactly. So, like, seeing yourself will even motivate me, like, God, dude, I need to lose some weight. I'm getting fat. You know what I mean? Like, so it's good to film yourself and see, what you are and how you look. And, so it is definitely motivating when you do put the camera on yourself.
Oh, yeah. Especially when it's motivating when it's on you and you're just going to be the only one to see it.
Yeah.
It's just because you have to force yourself to accept the fact that Dude, I just sat there and read my phone for 10 freaking minutes in the middle of a set. What am I doing?
Yep.
Yeah, you have to force yourself to admit that. But when you know it's going to be seen by anyone else,
you're going hard.
Oh yeah, you're going
hard. You're making that chest pop out a little bit more. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, that's good. It's the truth though, man. Like filming has definitely changed the way that I approach things different now. Like hunting, to me, I think as I started filming my series, I wanted to be like the superior hunter, but I found out real fast that I'm not the superior hunter, and it's more like, you know what, this is what I am, this is what I'm going to do, and you know, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it, you know, and that's kind of what I kind of went for, and the success of that has been way better because, you know, people come up to me like, hey man, I'm glad you didn't crop out that shot. You shanked that shot bad. Why did you show that? And I'm like, man, I'm real. I'm raw. What you see is what you get. I'm not trying to. Is it kid turkey collar right there?
Turkey collar, elk collar, something.
Yeah. And you know, and that's what I said. I said, man, I'm not sugarcoating anything. What you see is what you get. I'm a real hunter. Yeah. When I miss a shot, I'm going to show it, you know. So.
No, and I've talked about that a lot on the podcast because I talk about my failures all the time. Mm-hmm. Podcast would be a lot shorter if I didn't.
Right. Exactly.
And, so it's one thing I've talked about with a lot of people is we've talked about more people need to do that because new hunters coming in, that's, I feel like, a big reason why we have so much trouble recruiting new hunters sometimes is all we show are these grand successes and giant romantic hunts. And, you know, I'll admit I fell for it a little bit. Like, you know, I fell in love with the idea of going out a backcountry elk hunt. And, you know, I probably should have done a few easier things. And a lot of the issue was, like, I dedicated everything from January to September to doing that elk hunt. Mm-hmm. I could have gone out on 10 different hunts before that just to get my feet wet, at least get some experience in the backcountry.
Yep.
But I didn't, and I fell prey to that. And then you think you have to be at that level, and when you're not and you make those mistakes, you're ashamed of them.
Yep.
And I think, you know, if more people did that, more people showed themselves shanking a shot or even just talking through, like, you know, I talked through a pig hunt I went on in Texas with Jess Byers. And in that episode we went through and I was just wide open about, you know, I hit a pig and we could not find it. And it just, I mean, and it's a pig. Like most people are like, whatever, it's a pig. But I'm like, that messed with me. That totally screwed with me. And I feel like if more people are open and honest about that, you know, we'd have a lot better of a time recruiting hunter and with hunter longevity. Like I feel like people burn themselves out and stress themselves out so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a cookie cutter. You know, hunting will throw you loops. Animals are crazy, right? Like, and like for instance, I had Justin out elk hunting for his first time in Colorado with his bow, and I've been scouting this area, and I know that there was elk in there, and I was like, screw it, I'm going to just start calling. And next thing I know, on the other ridge, this bull, this 5x5 comes out. It wasn't nothing huge, but it was Justin's first bull. I would still shot it. I mean, I'm not a trophy hunter. And we called this bull in, and we put Justin down there with the camera guy, and this bull came right into him. It was perfect. I was like, oh, man, this is going to be the baddest episode ever, you know. And he shot the elk at like 40 yards, and the elk was shaking its head. He was going down, and he went in the dark timber, and we heard it. We heard it crash, and we're giving high fives. I'm talking. I'm bragging like I'm the baddest elk caller ever, you know. Like, I'm like, I just did that, you know. So it was like, and Justin's like, man, I can't believe that happened like that, you know. Well, like I said, I'm not the best hunter out there. I should have let the elk overnight just die, and you know. But after I saw him shaking the head, we watched it on film, the shot placement.
You thought he was dead on the spot.
Oh, man, we heard it crash. Well, we gave it about an hour and a half, and we went in there that night, and we bumped it. And we never found that elk again, and Justin has Justin said, man, I don't know, bow hunting's maybe not for me. He felt so bad because he couldn't recover that animal. And I just said, man, that's bow hunting. It is. I mean, even rifle hunting, you can do that, and that's just hunting, and it sucks when it happens, but we showed it, to relate to people like, hey, man, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you go out,
and it's lessons, and there's generally, you can get intellectually, you can get as much info as anyone, but there's only one way to really learn it, and that's to have it happen.
Sure, exactly.
And, that's when you really internalize it and learn from it.
Yep. Experience, man. Sometimes it's good experiences, sometimes it's bad experiences.
And I bet, every time now, you've waited a lot longer for that thing to go down.
Like this year, like even when I shot my whitetail, I knew I blasted it, passed through and everything. I was like, and my brother was with me, and I said, dude, I'm going to give it like 2 hours. He was like, oh, no, you don't need to do that. Let's dead up there. I was like, I'm not bumping that baby. I'm not chasing it all over this county.
It's like, what's an hour in the long? I mean, it's a little different if it's like 90 degrees out.
Yep, exactly.
I'll give you that. Then you might be a little more aggressive trying to find an animal, but I mean, you're hunting in fall. It's cool.
Yep.
What's an extra hour going to cost you?
No, nothing. And sure enough,
but it can win you.
Exactly. And sure enough, he was there, and I just been more cautious since that incident. Yeah. So, yeah, it happened, man. But that's what I was saying. Like, we show everything. The goods, the bads, the uglies.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. It's been fun filming, and it's frustrating at times. But that's hunting. Period.
Oh yeah.
That's hunting.
So you talked about you're still learning. You're always learning. We just talked about one
incident right there.
Lesson you learned, kind of the crappy way, but you learned it. What just maybe looking at your time that you've been running the show, what are maybe some of the other lessons you found yourself learning, ways you found yourself changed as a hunter? That sounded really like
it's in a perfect world. I've learned that I'm not the greatest hunter. But also, like, I've learned to know the situation, not rush things. You know what I mean? Like, because with the camera guy next to you, it's hard enough when you're hunting, spotting a stock yourself, trying to be quiet, making the wind right, let alone having another person behind you, making sure they got it on camera. Like, to me, I think being patient has been something I've learned more of. Like, I was always a run and gun kind of guy and, like, just did things,
Yeah.
And now it's camera first. I got to make sure that the shot's there, everything's there. But I would definitely say I play the wind more now than I used to. I was like, I got this scent spray on. I'm good, let's go. Let's go. And sure enough, busted stock,
How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, exactly. And shoot, I've only been shooting a bow now for 5-6 years now. And so I'm still learning on that whole deal. But I love it. It's my drug, and like I said, I would probably have way more success if I brought out the rifle, but I love bow hunting. I do. I love bow hunting, and it's fun for me. I mean, in my backyard, I live up in the mountains, and so I have a whole 3D range out there. I'm practicing all the time, so it's just fun for me. And when it comes down to that moment of truth, I've learned that I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I mess up. I still get buck fever. I get amped up when I make an awesome shot, and when I screw up, I still get mad. And that's that's probably what I've learned more of is I'm only human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm only human, and I'm still learning every day.
No, I mean, it's like I said, we need more people to admit that they're not God's gift to hunting.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be easy. It'd be one thing if I just showed nothing but highlight reels of me out there doing kill shots or whatever. But like I said, like, it's more of a story for me to show people.
You can keep going.
It's more of a story for me to tell people, like, this is the way it is, for sure. Like, hunting's not easy, and it's tough,
I mean, pretending to be the biggest, baddest hunter in the world, there's a lot of pressure in that. I mean, you look at the state of outdoor TV now, and you look at these guys that when you're willing to just put everything out there and you're being like, look, I screw up, I make mistakes, you're able to put that out. When you have to be the biggest, baddest, most perfect hunter, that starts putting a lot of pressure on you. That's when people start making unethical decisions.
Yep.
And for the sake of, it's not about hunting anymore.
Yeah.
It's about
The
putting out a
kill.
TV show.
Yep.
And it's about the kill, and you'll do anything to get that. Doesn't matter if it's legal or, I mean, it may be illegal, but it may not be the most ethical, whatever it is.
I've been that guy. I have tried to do it, and I have tried to do whatever it takes to get that shot on camera. And, realistically, that's not what hunting is about. You know what I mean? And that's why I said, that's why I have filmed episodes where I haven't been successful, but we've had the great time being out there, and that's what I show. And the most common hunter can relate to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they enjoy seeing that because this guy runs a TV show, and he's just like me.
I mean, everyone, don't get me wrong, like, one of my favorite things to watch is Born and Raised Outdoors on their YouTube. Is they've got this, like, it's like this 10-minute long clip or whatever, and it's just, like, the best kill shot or something. Like, kill shots, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'll pull that up, and I'll just be like, oh.
Yeah, it's awesome,
like, get pumped, the music's on. But you know what? That's exciting, and it gets people pumped and excited, but it's not relatable for everyone, especially someone like me where, I'll get super pumped about that, but then I'm like, what good does that do me?
Yeah.
I see somebody that, like, that loses an animal and gets a little worked up and bummed out about it.
Yeah. You can relate to that.
I can super relate to that, and I'm going to start connecting with that person more. I'm going to start watching more, listening more, whatever it is. And, I mean, so it's – being honest is – I mean, even aside from the fact that it's just the ethical thing to do, it's just beneficial for you as a TV show host.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been the guy. You can ask my wife. What you see is what you get. Is what I've always told my wife. And like now, as a TV host, like that's the same thing. How I'm running my show is what you see is what you get. And sometimes It's not the greatest episode, but it's real. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that's what I'm going to continue doing.
Heck yeah, man. So. How many, seasons, episodes, what are we at now for the show?
So right now we are airing season 2. We filmed season 3 already. And something I'm thinking about doing now is like actually talking to my partners now, like Cribcheck, Cafaro and all them is like we're doing, we might move to a lot more short film stories, short films, instead of like just episodes. So once I do, an adventure or a hunt or whatever, I'm going to just air it right away. Yeah. Instead of just doing seasons, I think people will enjoy that more, like throwing that up right away on our website. We have our own media player now on our website, so we just throw on content on there instead of waiting for the whole season to come out. So I'm going to talk to them, see if that's something they want me to do more of instead of episodes, I try to do anywhere from, 6 to 8 different episodes a year, they're anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. I've found out that shorter episodes do really well because people don't want to sit there and watch a 20-minute video of me hiking around the woods. So shorter's been better, a little cheaper for me on the budget, as
without a doubt.
Yeah, so that part's been good. But yeah, I'm excited. I get to go this spring to British Columbia with Aaron Snyder and Frank. So we're gonna go shoot spring bears.
That's just trouble right there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
That's just trouble right there.
Like I was on their podcast and I came out with the word called epical.
Epical.
And that hunt's gonna be epical.
Epical. There we go. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that podcast I did with them was trouble.
Oh yeah, those guys are fun, man. I enjoy them. I'm very lucky and proud that I have them as a partner, but more as, just good friends. Like, it's nice getting a call from Aaron. I just got one today from him. He goes, hey, how's the show treating you? And people cool. And I was like, yeah, man, you really should be out here. Everybody's asking about you, So it's good. Like, I enjoy those guys. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to make that one into a short film.
Nice.
So that'll be a pretty bad hunt, I think. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, man, so tell me about some of maybe the episodes that have stuck out to you. Maybe some of the cool stories. What should people check out?
I mean, I have a lot of variety of different episodes out there. Like I said, I got some good episodes with some great kills. And then I got some episodes out there that I've, ate tag soup, So I got some good ones you guys want to check out. My first season, I have my New Zealand hunt out there with TJ Dillashaw, Chad Mendez, and Lorenzo from Go Hunt. They're all out there.
That's a crew right there.
Yeah,
man.
It was a good time, good camp. It was definitely one of my, I would say, better trips just because when you got those guys in camp, it's just a good time, and the story, we all tagged out, and it was a good time, and it was frustrating for me because I've blown a few shots, but that's normal, right? That's normal. And I finally got it done the last day. But, yeah, that one's a good one. Check that one out. That one's on YouTube. You can actually check that one on YouTube or my website. But, yeah, it's just there's that, and I got, and that's obviously an expensive hunt. But we also do affordable hunts, Turkey hunting in Nebraska has been good, and that's affordable. Anybody can do that. We've been to Hell's Canyon on a bear hunt there, Nebraska whitetail, Colorado muley. I try to relate more of hunts that people can afford because, one, I can afford it, and it's
a lot less overhead right there.
Exactly, so, especially like if I'm bringing a guest, I got to buy another tag for them, out-of-state tags are expensive. So I try to keep everything, affordable for me and, the old budget, unless any of you guys out there listening to this podcast, you guys want to sponsor Gladiators, come on in, let's do this. But, yeah, so I would say just check out the channel, give us a like and give us a follow. We're always growing. Every day we're growing, so it's cool. It's fun.
All right, man. So if people want to find Gladiators Unleashed on the internet, where are they headed?
Just go to www.gladiatorsunleashed.com. Check us out on the IG, Facebook.
Gladiators Unleashed everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean, you can watch us on ESPN now. We're in the UFC, so it's just, I got a bunch of fighters fighting there. Justin Gaethje. I mean, we're planning on taking over the world.
There you go, man. Yeah. So who should we keep an eye on for the fights coming up?
Well, this next one is Justin Gaethje. He is my co-host. Like I said, he is the main event coming up in Philadelphia, March 30th, and he is fighting Edson Barboza. He's the number 6 fighter, so it's going to be a scrap.
Nice.
And, if you ever watch Justin fight, he's never a dull moment. He brings it 110%. And I tell you what, like, the guy's the most entertaining fighter out there today in the UFC. He wins this fight, we're looking at Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, just a bunch of different big things happening for him. He gets that big money, so it's good for him.
That's awesome, man. All right, man, so out of all these fighters you take out, who's the biggest wuss in the backcountry?
Oh, I'm going to have to even say Justin's probably the biggest wuss in there. Yeah, he's the most violent guy in the cage, but when it comes to the backcountry, he's like, what? I got to sleep on the floor? He's used to those. Yeah, he's used to those silk sheets, But yeah, definitely him. And that's one thing I've learned about filming. Is some of these guys, that's the problem. They've seen it on TV and they're like, oh, this is awesome. I can do that.
Yeah.
Well, they find out that it's not.
In a 20-minute, 25-minute episode, half an hour episode, whatever, covering a 10-day hunt, you only get a small sliver, and it's usually the cool stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
It's
period.
not the holy crap, it's cold.
Yeah.
Why can't we get the stove started?
Yeah, exactly. They're all like, oh my God, dude, this is freezing out here. What the hell? And I'm like, bro, I told you it's going to be tough. Like, it ain't easy. Like, everybody tells me, oh, man, you got the best job out there. You get go out and hunt and film. I'm like, go out there. Just come on out here with me all these time. Because it ain't, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. But when it's all said and done with, it's hard still.
Oh, yeah.
And sure, would I like to be sleeping in my bed every night. Yeah, but I'm out here because I love this thing called hunting,
There you go, man.
But, yeah, I would definitely say Justin is probably the biggest puss when it comes to the outdoors.
Oh, man. All right. So if people wanted to follow you specifically, check out what you're doing. Where can they find you?
So on my Instagram, it's just littlehawk155. You'll start seeing a little me and my family, my little daughter. But I show a lot of the fight game stuff there, what fighters I got coming up. Like tomorrow morning, I got to leave out of here to get home because I have a pro boxer that I coach. She's fighting tomorrow night, so I got to get back to coach her. So I do a lot more of that on that page, like more of the fight game stuff on that. But yeah, check it out. If you like the MMA world, yep, I'm your man.
There you go, man. You're making me want to get back. I did Muay Thai for a while.
Yeah, see, there you go.
I figured it's a perfect sport for me because I'm built like a 14-year-old Thai kid.
Yep, for real. But they're vicious. Those kicks, start learning how to kick, you're a bad dude.
Oh, man. But, man, I want to get back to it. But, yeah, awesome, man. So I always like to end the show with just maybe, say somebody watched an episode or whatever that is, or even just, came up to you and was like, hey, man, I really want to get into this hunting stuff. I really want to start getting into the outdoors and learning all this, but I don't know. I don't have the research. I don't have the background in it. I don't know. What maybe encouragement or words of wisdom would you give that person?
Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're going to do a rifle or bow. What I did is when I got in the rifle or to the bow game, I obviously went to my local archery shop, picked their brain, admit it that you're a newbie, and just take in all that knowledge that people tell you. You know what I mean? You're going to miss. You're going to have failure. You might not even see an animal. But just try to do research and ask questions. Those seasoned hunters that you look up to or whatever, you hear a podcast and that, somebody's on there that's been pretty experienced in the outdoor world, listen to them. Because I'm telling you, they started out just like you as a newbie, and then they paid that road, that experience pays off, It's something to learn from. So I would just say go down to your local archery shop, ask questions, Do not be afraid to ask questions. Like I said, just because I'm a TV host doesn't mean I'm not asking questions still. I'm learning every day. I'm not the most skilled hunter. Y'all can watch that. I'm definitely not that. But I definitely ask questions. I'm learning. I'll admit it. I'd rather find out than learn in the hard way, Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for taking the time sitting down.
Man,
it was a good chat.
I appreciate it, and I can't wait to hear this one. I hope you all enjoy it. I look forward to it, and hopefully I see you in Colorado again here soon.
Heck yeah.
All right, y'all, that'll do it for episode 95 of Living Country in the City. A huge thank you to Luke for taking time out of his day during the Expo to sit down and chat with me. Make sure y'all check out the show notes page at livingcountryinthecity.com/95. Get notes on everything we talked about today and all the links. Thank y'all for listening, and until next time, keep it country, y'all.
Thank y'all for listening to Living Country in the City. Get show notes and check out the blog, product reviews, events, and more at livingcountryinthecity.com.